right, guys, welcome back to the ALGS channel. Hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day so far. We have got a lot to talk about the Apex Legends esports drama, updates, roster news as well. Currently dead and ranked right now, which is why I'm recording the video. Already did it, but unfortunately left my Discord comms in there, so my duo was screaming at the top of their lungs about their game while I was talking about Rostermania, of course. So you love to see it, but we're back and we've got news like no other, with some communications coming out from some of the players over at the NRG roster camp. Looks like I could have been correct. Everybody was like, they're not going to make a change. They're not going to make a change. They might not, but they very well could, after what was released earlier today. So if you guys want to stay up to date, all things Apex Legends esports related, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's go ahead and dive right into it. So first off, I want to make mention of, like I said earlier in the week, this is going to be probably a really insane roster mania this year. Now, I know one story that is developing behind the scenes right now that I'm not allowed to speak on, obviously, because it's private. It's not everybody's business to know quite yet, and I would be jeopardizing some relationships by doing so, of course. So that's not what I'm here to do. We're just here to talk about the good old news that I'm allowed to talk about. However, there's more stuff brewing behind the scenes that you need to be worried about as well. So Sentinel's coach basically came out and reaffirmed this. Now, this is actually a different story than I think that I'm talking about. Like I said, I know one thing that is happening, but it is big, but it's not like, you know, crazy that you're not going to believe. I think his news is going to be even more insane. He says we are about to witness the most insane roster mania in Apex competitive history. Y'all have no idea. So not sure what exactly that is about. Like I said, I only know one big story, but that is, you know, history breaking. That's pretty big. So we'll see how that develops in the coming days as well. So firstly, wanted to mention, secondly, I guess, Noko has decided that he's going to be returning back to ALGS. Whoa, we're all shocked, right? No, okay, no, obviously harm here, not trying to throw any shade. I think Noko coming back is really good. I would love to see him be consistent in this as well. Unfortunately, you know, people are making fun of him. You know, I swear it's like the fourth time this year you've done this, but you know, things happen, and obviously we talked about yesterday, Strafing Flame says, how many times do we see the LFT right after champs, right? Well, I think some people wait for after champs because it's the right time to announce, but also I do think some people are only taken by inspiration, and they really got to figure out how to be dedicated beyond, you know, bad results and all of that stuff. So hopefully Noko can figure that out, because I do think having him in the scene would be really good for, you know, Apex and ALGS, you know, entirely. I think it was good that Timmy came back as well. We saw another similar response. Rogue has come out and said that he is also looking for a team as well. What I like about Rogue in his post here, though, is he says very clearly he does not want to IGL. He does want to make some decision making, but basically he just like needs to learn a little bit more. He says, I don't think I'm ready in every avenue, but I do think that I bring a lot to the table. So Rogue obviously would be a very good addition to some of these rosters that are going through the, you know, the LCQ and all that stuff. But I think one of the good you know, things to reflect on here, Jevy Media is saying that Pro League qualifiers is usually very underrated. Everybody's like, you know, this is a bunch of no-name teams trying to make their way. We're gonna have a lot of big content creators that are inspired right now to play and go through these Pro League qualifiers. So some semi-pro teams, some content creators that are really good. Who's all gonna make it? Which stories are gonna prevail? The Pro League qualifiers are coming up soon this fall, and it is going to be a sight to see. Now, the crazy part of roster changes is going to be coming in the form of NRG. Now, this one is not official, but it is very likely and possible, and I did mention that I thought this was going to happen. Now, after I did that, the comments were flooded with what Snipe Down had to say and how they don't think NRG is going to make a roster change, and that is fair, and of course it could happen. I mentioned the parallel to Call of Duty. A lot of those guys like to make roster changes very quickly. Sometimes in Apex they like to stay together a little bit longer, and so we'll just kind of see how it goes. However, Nafen himself over here from NRG came out on stream and spoke about what was going on inside the camp of NRG, and of course there are a lot of worrisome problems to consider and think about as well. This one's going to be very lengthy because he had a lot to say, almost 4 minutes long, of how he basically wants to explain the situation. Roll the clip.
Talking to Sweet, well, at least me and Shiny, I don't know if Guild ever had that one-on-one with Sweet. I'm sure they did at some point, but prior to LAN and everything, me and Shiny really tried to like tell Sweet to like hold back a little bit, you know, like don't be so hard on him, because the reason why is like we think that, like, you know, it's like some people take it like differently, you know, like some people can be yelled at like that and still play to their like best. Like some people need that, like, you know, like lock the fuck in type shit, right, to really like lock in, right? But for Guild, we thought it was the complete opposite. So the way that Sweet was approaching him was affecting his play, like a lot. And then even when I was talking to Guild and I asked him, I'm like, is the way that, you know, Sweet is talking to you, is it affecting your play? And he was like, yeah, it like, he like said that basically like it was like talking to Sweet, it's like messing with his like confidence, and like he was like doing like really bad walls, because that's like pretty much like the root of it was because of like how he was using his wall. So since that was the case, we talked to Sui and we were like, yo, like try and hold back a little bit, like just like if he fucks up, he fucks up, like it happens. Cause like for me, when shit like that happens, it's like, you know, everyone makes mistakes, right? It's just not in my personality to really like be like talking to someone like that. Even though like I am upset myself, especially in finals, like especially like when that fight in outside of launch pad, right? The fight outside of launch pad to E6, I literally killed 2 and hit the other guy 150, and we still somehow lost. I was so upset. I literally threw my fucking headset at the desk and I got up. I was like so mad. But even though like they made mistakes, like it's just not in it for me to like really like say it like that. I don't know. Isn't that Sweet's role? What, Sweet's role to like what, fix the issues? No, the whole reason why we got Shiny was so Sweet doesn't have to worry about anything else but his own play. That was the whole reason for the coach. But it's kind of like out of personality, because Sweet is a very like talkative person. So like even like when we die, the person that does most of that talking anyways is already Sweet. I think that that's just in his like nature. But the whole reason why we picked up Shiny, not the whole reason, but one of the main reasons is because so he could hinder the mistakes that we made and minimalize them. And he could focus on the mistakes that we make, so Sweet doesn't have to, and he can just focus on himself, his own play, his macro and everything.
So very interesting stuff going on in the NRG camp. Now this was not the full video, obviously there's a lot more to it because this was a very long one. I think it was like upward of 12 minutes. The link to the full video though on the Apex Lounge is down in the description below as well. I think that one's a little bit more chopped up at like 7 minutes or so, but yeah, I mean a lot of people were not expecting any problem coming out of NRG and just thought, oh, that's just the way Sweet is, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it turns out it was a big a deal, and obviously Guild was being affected in his gameplay by the way that, you know, Sweet was IGLing, I guess, and obviously the way they communicated about some things as well. So if you didn't think NRG was going to make a roster change, maybe now you're a little bit more convinced, but it's not to say that it's going to happen for sure. I could still see these guys trying to work through this and get basically this ship back together. Now Guild is the only one I'm wondering about now, because beforehand I would have said maybe some kind of management decision. NRG says basically, look, we know we need Sweet. I think Guild's too good of a player. Maybe we look for a different MNK player, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Sweet and Nafen are going to probably be together for a very long time. But Guild, on the other hand, obviously I just feel like this guy is so good at the game, you just can't get rid of him. And so I really hope that they can work it out, because I love the players that they have on the roster. I love Guild, I love Nafen, I love Sweet, and I really hope that these guys can work it out together. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, results are king, and that's what they're going to be looking for come ALGS year 4. So if they do make a roster change, I'm interested to see in your perspective of who you think they will sub out and who you think it will be for as well. Just as we wrap the video up, I want to let you guys know that Kinda is looking for a team again as well. Now this one's not as necessarily the same as like, oh, I'm coming back. This guy had actually played, I think, for E6, E36, something like that in the EMEA scene, and I think he was dropped for, I think, Tyler FPS, I think it was. I could have this roster mixed up with someone else, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was, and it looks like he is set to return here for year 4 as well. So obviously, like I said, interested to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date all things Apex Legends esports related. And until the next time, I will see you all later, Gators.